Oh, anytime, Bill.
Why can't you ever give me a straight fucking answer?
Go back to San Francisco where you belong, man.
Eyes Wide Shut is Kubrick's final and most explicit examination of the consequences of man's repression of his latent homosexuality, and confirms that Kubrick is the most important director in gay cinema. At first, like everyone else, upon release, I was not impressed with Kubrick's gay masterpiece. I simply dismissed it, taking it at face value with my eyes wide shut. I remember leaving the theater, even saying out loud as I was leaving, like, "Oh my God, that movie is so boring. I can't believe I just wasted $8." Ironically, even as the gay man, we took for granted the androgyny that's inherent in everyone, and how it's repressed and denied through our patriarchal culture. What is most profound, that it's not even that subtextual. I mean, the point is he's trying to make is how much we do not see the obvious, and how we are programmed, and how this patriarchal mindset, repressive mindset against anything feminine is normalized. I think the point of your eyes being wide shut is this inability, this Orwellian concept of humanity not being able to see the obvious. The theme of the film, as well in life, is being hidden, things being hidden in plain sight. The power of repression and fear, as well as the overemphasis on the exterior, taking things at face value, detached from our feminine power. One of the most brilliant aspects of this film is the casting, which I think is appropriate because it is an example of art imitating life, and the fact that he's using a quote-unquote real married couple in his movie, and the fact that it's also reflecting the problems of their real-life marriage. Everyone in Hollywood, in the inside, knows that Tom Cruise is gay, not bisexual, that Nicole Kidman, the rumors of her being his beard, the trade-off that he got her career going. She was not A-list before they married. And Kubrick was hip to this, and he exploited the dynamics and the undercurrent to their relationship, and I don't even know if they were aware of it. So it's telling, though, that their marriage soon broke up, their pseudo-marriage, after making of this film. I'm not going to elaborate too much on the evidence, but every single wife of Tom Cruise's says that he doesn't like to have sex, and he's asexual, and his marriages always end within 5 years. That's just the tip of the iceberg. If you have any gaydar at all, it's pretty obvious. As far as art imitating life, I think that Kubrick even wrote the script based on Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman. I don't think the movie would have been made if he couldn't have casted them. Kubrick did not like to cast big movie stars, so there's no reason he would have casted him other than the gay subtext. The script was very loosely based off some 19th century Vienna story, but most of the details, probably the fact that he made a contemporary deal with Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman's biography. I need to clarify, because I have some controversial views that have a lot of merit about the inherent homosexuality in everyone. It's not to say that there are no exclusive homosexuals. My point is there is no exclusive heterosexuality. Everyone is at least bisexual, but there is exclusive homosexuality. You can be fully gay, but you cannot be fully straight, and a lot of people think, well, that's a double standard, but the truth is the truth. All straight people have Latin or repressed gay side or gay feelings. And before Judeo-Christianity, it was very common to have a wife and a gay lover. And this wasn't a cultural thing. This wasn't programmed. The other thing that this film explores is how Judeo-patriarchal culture has driven that out of us, the desecration of the sacred feminine and the implications that go with it. Through the conditioning and programming from childhood and other religious mediums, it is possible to be unconsciously gay, to the point of denial and fear that you are still have a dual sexuality, and the repression of that comes out at a great expense of our society. It makes us more of a violent culture, and the Da Vinci Code and other things talking about the sacred feminine. The point is they're not emphasizing the sexual part of it, which is very important. It's not secondary. Many people take either a Jungian or a Freudian interpretation of a lot of his works and argue which one Kubrick preferred. I think he dealt with both, because Jung and Freud are not necessarily mutually exclusive in their outlooks in a lot of different ways. But there's a concept that Jung talks about called the anima. The anima is the inner feminine of men, and there's the animus is the inner masculine in women. Jung was very much, and Freud was the product of his environment. He couldn't go too far. He was already controversial enough, but to expose the inner, to sexualize his theories was a little bit too controversial. But he's implying with the anima that man's inherent homosexuality, as well as the animus in women, is that the goal of humanity was individuation, and to be individualized and fully balanced was to recognize your androgyny and to have that balance and to discover the anima and express it in healthy ways. And this deals with Bill's journey. The character Bill Hartford is his exploration of his own psyche and his anima and his resistance to the truth about his gayness. For Freud was I would say that Freud was way gayer than Jung. He rationalized homosexuality as a mental illness, because there is a documented story, you can research it, that Freud stopped talking he severed their relationship because he had a gay dream, a repressed dream about his attraction to Jung, sexual attraction, and you can look that up. So there's a lot of evidence to imply that they did have a homosexual relationship, at least for a while. And I think Jung was a little more evolved into own his bisexuality, where Freud was a little more neurotic, and he did have a thing for those cigars. So a cigar is not always just a cigar. There's the movie out about Freud and Jung that came out a few years ago about them and this woman patient, and it's obviously the woman is a metaphor for them exploring their gay sex with each other and the anima. Kubrick also explores the Jungian concept of bisexuality in his gay masterpiece Full Metal Jacket, when they discuss the duality of man. And Kubrick's films tend to have multiple narratives, like multiple layers in their meaning. And at one level, she is, at the surface, the Alice character represents their true marriage and the fact that she's his beard. But at another level, she's an identification for his gay side. She represents Bill's anima and the awakening of his inner true sexuality that is expressed on the dream level.
Why can't you ever give me a straight fucking answer?
And she says, why don't you ever give me a straight answer? What is she implying by a straight answer? He's only giving her gay answers, of course. And there's a good reason why she's insecure. Like, she doesn't understand why he's never been jealous of her. And the fact that he's never jealous and that he's not possessive is not that he's sure of her. It's the fact that he's gay.
And now you're trying to make me jealous.
But you're not the jealous type, are you?
No, I'm not.
You've never been jealous about me, have you?
No, I haven't.
And why haven't you ever been jealous about me?
Any straight or man that is attracted to women is natural to be possessive and to have jealousy. And the fact that he lacks that confirms that he's full-blown gay.
Well, I don't think it's quite that black and white, but I think we both know what men are like.
So on that basis, I should conclude that you wanted to fuck those two models.
There are exceptions.
What makes you an exception?
The exception is that he's gay, and she's not angry or jealous when she's inquiring, and she knows there's something intuitively, there's something fishy going on. When she dances with that handsome older man at the party, she knows he's watching, and she's trying to make him jealous. He just doesn't care.
Someone you know?
She tries to make him jealous with this confession about her longing for the naval officer. And this is what the catalyst for his journey is, because I think that really that the naval officer was probably, obviously the implication with Navy is gay. And I think maybe he's projecting, he had a real affair with a naval officer, or he was in love with the naval officer that he saw as well. They both were, or he's just projecting his own desire. But the shock is not really his jealousy. I think the shock, that the catalyst of his nocturnal journey is him trying to prove to himself that he's straight. And through this journey, he can't get it up. He has no desire. And it's not because he doesn't reject the hooker and the other advances of women because of his consideration and his fidelity. It's because he's just simply not straight. And you have to be a realist, because all men cheat. And cheating is what probably keeps, ironically, marriages together. And that's how men are wired, especially good-looking men with money. I mean, men are as faithful as their options. And the images of her with the naval officer, the sex scenes, the subliminals are not his. He's not angry and frustrated at the jealousy. He's frustrated about he's being turned on by. In those images, he's identifying with Alice, with the naval officer. He's jealous of her, not of him. And he's haunted by this, and he's doing his best to repress that part of him. And a friend brought this up. The naval allusion could have to do with his movie Top Gun, because there's a whole video on YouTube about the gay subtext of Top Gun. He was a naval pilot, and I don't have time to go into that right here, but check it out. The most obvious clue in this film about the gay subtext is the character of Nick Nightingale, his college medical school buddy, and it's just so obvious that it's implying, like, I think even with the repressed homosexuality of men, most straight men, so-called, have had gay experiences. The vast majority, most of them took place in high school or in college, and they rationalize as a college thing or a phase or experimenting. So Nick Nightingale is an ex-boyfriend, so he kind of is the catalyst for his sexual awakening as well. And some of the clues is he invites
Village for 2 weeks at a place called the Sonata Cafe.
Bill to come see him play jazz in the Village. And the Village is like the Castro of New York. So big hint right there. How many times did they play Doctor? Rainbow fashions. Obviously, rainbow is the symbol of the gay culture, and we see, when we get to rainbow fashions, what do we see? We immediately see through the window a white tuxedo and a black tuxedo, like a white exterior with a black tie in reverse, and that's exactly what the doubling we see at the first party with Nick and Bill is. He's wearing a black jacket, he's wearing a white one.
You haven't changed.
Another big clue is at the orgy scene, we see Nick being escorted out of the orgy, and we see him. It's a room full of gay people dancing. It's men dancing with men and women dancing with women, and we don't see that anywhere else in the movie or in the orgy. It's a gay dancing. So Nightingale is gay. And Nightingale is a symbol, on a literal level, is his ex-boyfriend and his nostalgia for his free gay life, and symbolic of Bill's inner longings. After the orgy, Bill goes on another second journey, and when he's looking, trying to find out where Nick lives, he goes to a hotel, and who do we find?
Hi. How can I help you?
Can you please ring Mr. Nightingale's room for me?
Anytime, Bill.
Is Alan Cummings is a gay character who flirts with Bill. Not trivial. You find a gay guy. The desk clerk had also already been informed about Bill's sexuality, and that's why there's kind of a familiarity there. He might be involved sexually. The desk clerk and Nick Nightingale might have a relationship. Maybe they want a threesome.
It's a Kubrick film with Kubrick, and it is Tom Cruise.
And it's Tom Cruise who, and there's the whole kind of, Tom Cruise's baggage, I think, helped that scene as well.
It did, yeah.
Well, do you know what I mean? I mean, the sort of all the rumours about him being gay. I certainly, I have quite a good gaydar, I think.
And Ziegler when talking about Nick Nightingale in the later scene? What does he refer to Nick as?
Recommended that little cocksucker to those people, and he's made me look like a complete asshole.
And that's not hyperbole.
To be continued?